Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year? The New York Sports Podcast with Mike and Doug. I am your host, Michael Kurland. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Douglas O'Keefe. How are you today, Douglas?
Oh, man. How we doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. I tried to incorporate the question mark now into our title in the intro, and I think I did a good job.
I mean, if that wasn't it, we're getting there, right?
Yeah,
this is not a fully confident this is our year situation, is it? So, yeah, we want to make sure people understand.
Ron Burgundy? I went with that whole look. So what are you drinking today, Doug? Tell the audience what you're drinking today. We got a lot to talk about.
We do, and obviously it's a big day tomorrow for my people.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean, my people?
As a O apostrophe person, I'm genetically required to celebrate tomorrow, and why not get an early start with the original?
Is that a Guinness
draft?
Oh, look at you! Buddy.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. And I even have the souvenir glass to pour it into. So
nice meal and
a little Irish here. Aaron, go brah.
I don't know what that means. Those are not my people. Today I will be drinking for the people on a budget out there, the Josh, 91 on Wine Magazine's rating label, and $14.99 a bottle. So if you haven't had a Josh Cabernet, California Red, and you're looking for something to not break the bank, this is your guy.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'll pick up. I'm no stranger to the Josh. I'll pick up a bottle here and there.
I'm sure most of our listeners aren't. And to be completely honest, I came back from a week-long birthday celebration trip with the wife. She turned 30, I turned 43, and this was the only thing that was open in the fridge. So
happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Dougie. That
tastes good.
So what are we wearing t-shirt-wise today? It looks like Beastie Boys action?
No, we're just talking about how old we are. We got some outdated formats.
I like it.
Yeah. Shout out to my sister for giving me that. I
got the Polar Bear Pete because I did want to celebrate the fact that the lockout ended. So I know we talked about leading with football free agency, but we might as well segue right into the lockout being over.
Yeah, gotta love it. And by the way, you sent me that exact shirt in a small, and just sorry, man. I'm fat now. I don't know what you were thinking, but
that was actually supposed to go to Josh Rosen, and he got your shirt, which I can't remember what it was. It was some sort of that shirt. So
yeah, but no, the polar bear, and thankfully he's okay.
Yes,
after his little car
accident. I think the Steve Cohen Wilpon transition of ownership. If it was the Wilpons, he would have been out for the season. But
without a doubt. I mean, how many car accidents have we had? We had Glavin, we had Juaner Sanchez.
Yep, that one killed. That one actually killed us. That guy was like the setup man of the year.
Agreed.
And he got in a cab, which you think back and you're like, I think this is a bunch of horse shit. He probably got into a fight or partied too hard or something, and
it was down in Miami, right? It was like on South Beach. So
yeah, something dumb. So yeah, the lockout's over. Pete's okay.
Oh man, yeah.
What are we thinking, Doug? We traded for Chris Bassett this week.
Great move.
Yeah, great move. Gave up a guy that has some upside potential in JT Ginn. I think in the grand scheme of things, Adam Oller was a Rule 5 pickup 2 years ago, and he was our minor league pitcher of the year last year.
Oh man, look, he lit it up last year.
He did, but he's also 27 and untested, and I don't want an untested 27-year-old as my third or fourth or fifth starter in New York when we have championship aspirations. I want a guy that's been battling for the Cy Young the last couple of years, and Bassett's the guy. So it was a little bit of a hefty price to pay, but I was happy that we did it because that's the kind of move we wouldn't have done a couple of years ago.
We wouldn't have done it, and it signals that obviously we're all in for this year, which we should be. I also took it to mean that they're confident in Jake coming back. And let's face it, this rotation needed another arm in a bad way. On the other side of the coin, I'm not even sure how much you can count on Cookie Carrasco and Taiwan Walker. I mean, hopefully they're okay. I think they're starting slow, so we're probably going to see guys like Tyler McGill, David Peterson, Yamamoto in the early season anyway. But having Bassett, who's just, out in Oakland, us East Coast fans maybe aren't as aware, but man, he under the radar, one of the better, like one of the better pitchers you've maybe never heard of, right? Yep. So yeah, it is only 1 year control. It's just there's no time to get upset about that right now.
Nope. And the guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, go. I lost who I was thinking of, but it reminds me of one of those deals where it's like the final piece for a playoff caliber rotation, and there it is. So I'm thrilled, and I think Ginn's going to be good, but
I agree with you. I think Ginn's going to be good, but Ginn wasn't helping us this year, or probably not even next year, and he's still got a lot to prove. And to your point, Bassett is, he's gotten Cy Young votes the last 2 years out in Oakland, and if there's a stadium, dimension-wise, that you can compare with whatever the hell that stadium's called now, O.co or whatever it is, it's Citi Field. And, he's a ground ball pitcher. He is got an elite spin rate. He's taken the analytics. He's a guy that took a while to bloom, but then once he bloomed, learning the analytics, he became a better pitcher from, researching and becoming better from a mental cerebral point. So
I like it.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. I'll tell you, the two holes that got me concerned on this team are the fact that I wish we would have signed someone like Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
He went to Schwarber. He went to the rival Phillies.
Of all places.
I know. He's going to do really well in that bandbox. We really haven't addressed the DH. I think they're going to do it in-house between Dom Alonso and fucking
Cano.
Robinson Cano, who's our age. But hopefully he can still...
Maybe even some JD.
Yeah, maybe even some JD. We've got some in-house options, but I would have loved to added 27 homers and 80 RBIs to the lineup right there.
So, were you would rather have Schwarber than say Chris Bryant, right?
No, at the end of the day, I want Chris Bryant. I think he's the last piece that can just make this team. That's top 3 in the NL, and they're going to be tough as long as they stay healthy, right? So the second to last piece, which is my second thing that we talked about earlier, is we better get ourselves a lefty specialist and quick. We don't have any lefties in the rotation, and we don't have any lefties in the bullpen as of it's currently constituted. So,
100%, and they got to pitch to people like Bryce Harper.
Yeah, there was a tweet
and Schwarber and
Soto. The whole NL East is filled with lefty power stacked. So,
although, I guess Freddie's gone finally, but
they replaced him with Olsen, who I believe is also a left-hander. So that's
true that
robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? So, we picked a bad time to try and get good in our division, but.
Yeah, and in prepping for today's episode, look, by the way, that's a great point. The NL East is just fucking ridiculous again, right? So it's going to be a war. Hopefully the Mets obviously don't disappoint like they have, but I was prepping for this, and I totally agree. I think especially in the bullpen, having a lefty arm is it's imperative at this point. I was going to bring up trading for Amir Garrett, and I just saw that he just went to KC.
Oh,
so
cool.
So that's off the list.
Cool.
Yeah, you're talking about like Andrew Miller, Tony Watson, Ross Detweiler.
One of them.
Our friend Chasen Shreve. Any of these guys getting you excited?
At this point, no, but I think it doesn't matter. We need to attack that with somebody and, get a stopgap in place. Because I don't think there's anyone on the minor league horizon that's a lefty specialist.
They have a guy named Claudio on the 40 man who I don't know much about, and they have Thomas Sapuki and David Peterson. I think those are the 3 guys.
Yeah, well, Peterson, he's not going to be he's not going to be a lefty specialist.
He shouldn't be
rotation guy. No, exactly. And Sapuki, I think, is a starter that they may be converting to, and I know he had some arm stuff, but he's also had Tommy John and et cetera, et cetera. So he may be someone that we can look at. But
he may be the former top prospect, right? But
yes,
definitely fallen off.
But
they got to do something.
But the last thing I think we need to talk about is that the city of New York, your closest metropolitan area, and the new mayor, who wants to prove to everyone that it's not about sports, but it's about being the mayor and taking a stand and keeping his votes, is still holding tight on not allowing vaccinated players to play for the home team, not the away team, but the home team.
Right, which
is ridiculous.
If we're going to do this, put it on the visitors too, like they are in Toronto. I mean,
right.
What the hell? But
right.
So, which is funny in itself. I think the Yankees have at least three. No, not at least. I think they have 3 series up in Toronto.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, this is an issue. I think we're pretty sure Brandon Nimmo, and we could probably guess on some of the other guys. But the Mets were one of like the few teams that did not reach that 85% threshold last year. So this is a concern if Adams doesn't kind of come to his senses here. The whole thing is ridiculous. I agree with you. I also think everyone should just get freaking vaccinated, but that's maybe it doesn't even matter right now. I was down in Barclays on Monday night, and no one was wearing a mask. I was at a concert, sold out concert. It just doesn't make any sense to penalize the New York-based employees and just give everyone else a pass. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think didn't he make a mandate that if you didn't get the vaccine as a New York City employee, like a city worker, that you would get fired if you didn't get it in a certain amount of time?
I remember he was threatening it, and I don't know if they went through with it though.
I don't know if they did either.
Look, this is the last thing we want to talk about on this. And
absolutely,
I'll look it up if needed. But Jesus Christ,
no. Come on, man. You just got into office, like, right. And I really think I agree. So I'll preface as well. I think everyone should get vaccinated. I think it would be easy if these guys would just go get vaccinated. But we do live in America, and it is a choice, right? And I don't. The unfortunate thing is, I don't think Mayor Adams is doing this because he really believes in the science or I think it has nothing to do with anything other than votes. And I think if he lifts this mandate, he feels like he's going to lose some of the votes from his party.
I mean, he literally just got elected though. So
right. But I mean,
I don't even know why that would.
It's a 2-year thing, and he doesn't want to have a black guy, right? I don't know. That's all I think. That's what I always think with politicians.
I don't know who likes this though. I honestly, like, it's not like New York, how New York City's portrayed in certain media outlets. I think everyone in New York City, everyone in the country, including NYC, is a little tired of this pandemic, which is natural, right? And it's stuff we can't control. But man, I don't know if I actually think it's the opposite of what you said. I think he's paying close attention to the science and prioritizing that over maybe the general feel. No. But
I don't live there, but I've been dealing with it for months. We haven't gotten into our basketball episode yet because it's down the list. But this whole Kyrie thing has been a complete shit show.
Who, by the way, absolutely went off last night. I don't know if you watched that.
Great segue. I didn't watch the actual game, but I did see the highlights. And yes, he set the Brooklyn/New Jersey/Long Island Nets record for points in a game at 60.
Hard to believe Dr. J never fucked around in the NBA and just
maybe only NBA
put
side.
Up a 60 burger.
You're right. But maybe only NBA side. But yeah, I don't think so. I think they would have kept that. So he broke Darren Williams, the last malcontent point guard that we had.
I remember how excited you were when they got that guy. Wow.
It was just misguided excitement. Yeah. So, but
thank you. That was Billy Knight.
That was Billy King. Yes,
Billy King. Sorry.
Yeah. And if you ever want to read a great article that's never gone out of style, it's Bill Simmons when he used to write. Did this article on the GM Summit, and he pretended to be every GM, and
so good.
And Billy King, he just trashed Billy King, which, as he should. I mean, he took all of the Celtics' aging players at the end of that contract and gave them life to be who they are today. So,
it's the gift that's still giving, but
kind of, yeah. So that's why Sean Marks is a god, and he can do no wrong. But Dougie,
there you go.
Let's talk about what's really transpired. Some fun stuff. Some moving and shaking. NFL free agency began 2 days ago, and we've got some movement here. So I think I'd like you to lead off because you guys have been a little bit quieter. I'd like little giant talk, and go from there. So what do you think? You guys made 2. I've only seen 2 moves. Is that correct?
There's a couple more, but you're right. It's small stakes, but. I guess let's lead off with what we were talking about last week. I guess I was right about Mitch. He got some money.
You were right about Mitch,
and
I think he got the same amount of money I thought he would get. The Giants just didn't want to pay him that much money, as my guess.
Right, which I understand, unless they're totally going to just bounce Daniel off the roster or something.
Right.
That said, I'm not like excited about Tyrod. Is Tyrod? I'm not totally excited, but hey, it's a real backup.
He's a backup that can come in, and if Jones doesn't perform well, he can be a stopgap quarterback for this year and even re-sign him. I think you got him for 2 years, right? And I think that was the reason behind that, in my opinion, is Jones, if he stinks this year, they'll let him walk, and then you draft another guy, and you still got Taylor in there for a year to teach him the system. So it was a smart move.
It was. He's obviously worked with younger quarterbacks before. I think he was there Herbert's first year, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, that was the year he got. I mean, this dude gets hurt a lot, but that one wasn't not his fault. That was the team doctor just go ahead and sticking a needle through his friggin' lung.
He collapsed his lung. Crazy.
Yeah.
That guy does get hurt a lot, though. That is for sure.
He does, and he's flashed here and there, right? I think he took the Bills to the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. He was there in the Rex Ryan years, and Rex Ryan was a huge believer in him. He tried to get him to the Jets when he came from Baltimore.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and then he went to Buffalo. He took him to Buffalo with him, and that's where Taylor ascended to the starting quarterback. That was obviously before Josh Allen, and I think Taylor actually got a pretty decent contract and was at one point the quarterback of the now for them.
Absolutely,
and then he's bounced around,
getting hurt a lot. Unfortunately,
he's become the professional backup. But everything I've ever heard about the guy is he's just a pro. He loves playing football, and he doesn't mind mentoring. He'll do whatever it takes for the team to win. And I think for you guys, that's a boon. That's a great signing.
It is. As long as he work with everybody else. And so, Giants fans out there, he's a little better than you remember probably, but I don't know. It's not exactly going to move the needle for me here. If Jones shits the bed, I'd rather them lose all the games, but I still can't be mad at this either. So
right. I don't think they're gonna. I think Jones is gonna have every opportunity. I mean, unless he starts throwing up 3 interceptions a game, and you guys are just getting trashed, he's gonna be your quarterback, and
or he gets hurt again.
That's what I was just gonna say. He's proven he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy over the course of a year. So you got two formidable guys. You got two.
Maybe not formidable.
League average guys that can run out there, and hopefully your coach can get Jones turned around, and if he can't, you got this guy for 2 years at a decent price tag. You're hoping, like you said, lose all the games. Obviously, you're going to try and draft a quarterback next year, and you got a guy that can show him the ropes when Jones goes out the door. So I think there's a short and a midterm play there. So I think it's a great move.
Well said. Until next week when we're talking about how Baker Mayfield is somehow on the Giants. So
there's no way that's happening. And I forgot to mention he's a system quarterback, right? He played under Dabble at some point in time, so he knows kind of the system that they're going to play.
Absolutely. So, you mentioned a couple other signings, like they signed Glowinski from Indy.
I mean, that's not terrible, right? You got to be happy about that. Your offensive line has been your biggest problem for however many years.
Steps right in on the right side, right? So, we need help everywhere but Thomas, so that helps. We should also mention that Feliciano came down from Buffalo as well, and he's going to play center apparently. So we're not going to have to rely on Gates, and he's working his way back from injury anyway. And they got that guy Matt Gono from Atlanta, who has had potential but just hasn't really done anything yet. So. As cap strapped as they are, this is basically what I expected or what I've read to expect. It's nothing earth shaking, but it's worth mentioning. And let's see what else happens, man. It sounds like Bradbury's out, unfortunately, so they're going to need a cornerback as well. And real quick, they're bringing back Shepard and I believe Martinez. I might be wrong on that. So
who's Gano or whatever you're talking about? What position does he play?
He's listed as an OL. I was trying to figure out if he's a guard or a tackle. They need help, obviously. Actually, they needed help at tackle, so I could see him slotting in. maybe on the left side.
Very nice. I like it. So overall, you like the moves we've made so far, but nothing's earth shattering. You still think you're going to be 4-13 next year.
I wouldn't mind being 4-13 if that makes me a shitty fan, whatever. But it's a rebuilding year. Let's assess what we got. Let's have a good time at the draft. Let's pick up at least one offensive lineman, and maybe Taylor falls to us. Who knows? But he's been rising up the charts.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good segue for the Jets. I mean, you guys have been a little quiet too, but feel free to jump in on latest on what you want to see them do at number 4 as well.
Well, yeah, I think before we move off that, you make a good point. You guys have 2 top 7 picks, 5 and 7, and you're cap strapped. Like you said, they're probably going to trade Bradbury for a pick. There's talk of trading Saquon for a pick if they can, and this is the year that you kind of got to burn it down and just get rid of all your cap hits. You don't want to push them down the road if you don't think you're going to compete anyway, right? So
that's a really good point. The fact that they're cap strapped and terrible, I think means you don't. There's no point in getting excited for this year.
This is what we did as a team 2 years ago. It was Gase's last year and Douglas's first full year. So we just kicked the curve. We cut all the guys. We let all the dead money ride. We traded everyone we could, and we just sucked. And now we're coming out of that now. So we're 2 years removed from that. And right now the big thing that the Jets keep talking about is there's no dead money down the road on future caps. So it's it's obviously a good thing. You never want dead money. Every team plays with dead money on their future caps and just kicks the shit down the road. But it means we have more real money to spend. So we've made some pretty decent moves in free agency so far, and I've been real happy with where we're going in terms of the signings we made. We didn't make any big signings in terms of like top headlining guys, but we got 4 capable starters at pretty decent cost. So we picked up Laken Tomlinson, the guard from San Francisco, 30-year-old left guard. We're going to move him to right guard. It was a first-round draft pick from Detroit, and they got traded to San Fran after a couple of years. Has played, so obviously he's a scheme fit, right? Because they run the same offense because LaFleur came from San Francisco. So that's, to me, exciting. The only thing I don't particularly like, and then it's everyone's take, is he's a little older. He's 30, and he's been a left guard for his entire career in the NFL. College, he played right guard, so I don't know how big of a deal it is to shift from left to right after playing left for 8 years.
Right.
And we gave him a lot of money. We gave him $13 million as a guard, so he's in the top 7 or 8 of highest paid guards right now. And I think part of the reason for that is we probably had to overpay a little bit to get the guy, because if it's even money, he's going somewhere else to a contender. But knowing he's a scheme fit, working under his O-line coach, John Benton, is the same guy that we brought, is now our O-line coach. So he helped get Tomlinson's career straightened out. So, we got a Pro Bowl guard filling in on the right, kind of solidifies our line between him and McGovern, and then AVT at left guard. And, Fant's probably going to stay at tackle on the left side. And if Becton comes back healthy, Becton was a up and coming left tackle his rookie year. He didn't even play last year except for a half of a game. But right. I think if you move him to right tackle, he's a way better run blocker than he is pass protector. And if he's not protecting the blind side and he can just maul people between him and Tomlinson, our run game could be pretty good next year. So
are there concerns about him at this point?
He's a 6'7", 360-pound man on paper. Everything I've heard, the issue. He's had someone roll up on the back of his leg in the first game of the year last year against Carolina. He went out at halftime and he just never came back. But the thing that was obnoxious about it was they said it was a 6 to 8 week injury. He didn't need surgery, couple days after, and then he missed 16 more weeks without even.
Yeah, like I kind of forgot about it because it didn't seem like a bad injury at the time.
It was a bad injury. I thought he had dislocated his ankle or had broken his leg, and When I saw it, I'm like, he's out for the year. It was bad. It was ugly.
Okay.
He got carted off. Like it wasn't a.
But you're right. Like the way it was reported, though. Like you're right.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
okay.
2 days later, 6 to 8 weeks, and
we'll see him later.
Yeah, exactly. And then he just never came back. And they said he never came back because he was having weight issues and he just stayed out of shape. So I've been watching him on Instagram this off season. He's been dedicated to the nutrition. He's been dedicated to the workout. So I'm hoping that he comes back in
best shape of his life.
That's what they say every offseason, right? So offensive line is now nice and complete, hopefully. So yeah, and then we signed after Tomlinson. We signed another offensive player. We signed CJ Uzama, the tight end from the Bengals. Hey,
why not?
Have you seen the steaming pile of dog shit that we've run out at tight end for the last 4 years? Ryan Griffin, the Yukon native who can't catch anything and can't block anything. We got some guy named Wesco, and we had Tyler Croft who couldn't stay healthy last year.
It's been a murderer's row at tight end.
Yes.
I mean, over the years, and God, I'm trying to remember the guy who had 3 names who had 2 touchdowns called back against the Patriots.
Austin Safarian Jenkins.
Thank you.
Yep, that was
it's hell. Let's go back. Let's remember Anthony Becht. That was good. How about Johnny Mitchell?
Yep. And
some,
who was the guy there was a guy that we drafted in the first round, and he stunk with us, and then he ended up he went to Penn State. His name was like Kyle something.
Oh no, he ended up on wait.
He went to the Jaguars.
Oh yeah, Kyle Brady. Yeah,
Kyle Brady.
I was also thinking. I was thinking of Pete Mitchell too, but maybe he didn't play for the Jets.
No, you're thinking of Johnny Mitchell. Johnny Mitchell was the tight end that we drafted in the first round, and he was out of Nebraska, and he ran like a 4.140 at the combine that year, and so he shot up everyone's draft board, and we took him over so many other great players, and he ended up sinking. So this guy CJ Uzama, he was on the Bengals. He was Burrow's safety valve, 45 catches, 450 yards, roughly 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was sneaky good last year. Did he get hurt at the end of the year?
He did. He got hurt right at the end of the year and missed all the playoffs except he came back for the Super Bowl. But
that's right.
They say him and Tomlinson, great locker room guys, and I think that's really what Douglas is trying to shift here is the culture. And I think what I alluded to earlier is, when you got a guy who wants to come here and the offers, the same as someone that wants to go to Baltimore, like Marcus Williams, for example, from the safety, everything I heard about that is we were in with the Ravens all the way to the end, and we made the same offer as the Ravens, and he chose the Ravens because they're the Ravens and not the Jets, right? So
that was a big get for them, by the way, too. And your old pal Marcus May's down New Orleans now, right?
He is. He took off. Yeah. I can't believe they paid him. First of all, I don't know where they got the money to pay him that because they're in cap hell every year. So,
by the way, not to change the subject, but for some reason I just see the Saints getting Watson. Am I way off on that?
They're the favorite. He met with the Panthers, the Saints, the Browns, and the Falcons. I think the Falcons is, Arthur Blank is pushing that narrative because he used to be a ball boy for the Falcons back in the day. So they want to reunite him. He's from Georgia.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. And Blank wants to bring him in. I'm sure he's getting older, and Ryan's also getting older. So I believe that's where that's coming from. But I don't know how the Falcons could put together a package to match. But I guess it's also Watson's got a full no trade, so he's also got to sign off on wherever he wants to go. So, and I think with
they should probably get a receiver or two as well, maybe to help
the Falcons.
The cause. Yeah.
Who's the guy? Zacharias or something like that.
Number 1 right now.
Yeah. No thanks. They are in complete and utter dismay. But and I don't understand how a team like Indianapolis doesn't call them up and say, give us Matt Ryan, we'll give you some picks. Because that team's ready to go. If they had any semblance of, quality quarterback play, they would have.
Yeah, it's a good point. So, you're right. Indy's been quiet. I hadn't thought about Matt Ryan going there, but, oh, God, I just lost my train of thought. But not Jimmy G, but someone else is going to be like Watson's the first chip to fall, though.
Yeah, so Watson's the first chip to fall. They're saying he should pick a place between tonight and tomorrow. The NFL came out today and said there's going to be some, they're going to come down with some sort of possible punishment for everything now that all the
potential suspension
now that the civil suit's gone. Are we drinking the same Guinness here?
Oh yeah,
I like it.
It's bubbling.
I remember this is how old we are, Doug. I remember when the technology came out that they put the little ball in the Guinnesses so that when you open them, they wouldn't be flat, because I guess that was a big problem if you didn't get a tapped Guinness. It came out of the can kind of flat back in the 90s.
That's Irish ingenuity, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's right.
I love it. So, well, cool.
I'm pretty sure we liberated a couple of those balls back in the Q days. I wish I had a better story about it, but they still got him.
There you go. So, I think Watson will be the first one to fall, hopefully in the next 24 hours. I think Jimmy G is going to be probably the next guy to fall. And then I think the guys after that don't have, quarterback, Mariota's still out there. Someone's going to sign him. Someone's going to sign him. In
fact, I kind of thought he'd go to the Giants. So
I think he could end up going to Indianapolis, depending on where Jimmy G goes. But we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll see what Seattle does. Do you think Ryan goes there? You think they?
I don't think Ryan's in play unless they get Watson, because I think they like. I think his cap hit is enormous. I think he's on the downside of his career, and I just think they're going to ride it out until his cap hit is not 40. I think it's like 41 million this year. So,
by the way, I called it this last week,
which is
Tom Brady back.
Oh, dude, talk about we were talking about my birthday earlier. Talk about the fucking worst news I could have woken up to on my birthday morning was.
Did that really upset you?
I mean, I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, really? Why did you could have just waited till now to retire. Like, why did you retire? Or not retire? You could have just said fucking nothing, dude. And he comes back, and then as soon as he comes back, the Jets were like supposedly hot and heavy on Ryan Jensen for center, and I was starting to get on that train, like, oh yeah, move McCovern to right guard, and then we can bring in Ryan Jensen. And of course he resigns, and I was just like, fuck you, Brady. Just please get out of my life. Get out of my life. Get out of my life. But no, it didn't upset me as much as it would have if he was still on the Patriots. That's for sure. So,
I agree there. But, we're living in the worst sim, or one of the worst ones. So, of course, this dude's going to play till he's 60.
60. At least he's going to try to play till... I have a feeling he's going to try to play till he's 50. He's still in great shape.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he's...
But I also think we're going to do the Brett Favre thing. Oh, maybe I'll retire this offseason. We're going to do that every year, too.
Probably. Which
is
nonsensical. Hey, I mean, ESPN's got to be the most pissed off. Like, this whole man in the arena that they've been hyping. If I look at ESPN app one more time and I see the man in the arena advertised for me, just come on,
I know.
Get rid of this.
Yeah, they need a mute function for individual.
For Tom Brady, right? No, you can't get.
Yeah. There you go.
Their AI is not as good as some of my Instagram that wants to sell. I want to watch. Every watch in America is now trying, and not in America is trying to sell me.
Yep, absolutely. And by the way, I figured out how to mute so many things on Twitter. It's just so much better. I don't even see the stupid trending topics anymore, which are always a cesspool. So
I do.
Hey, anyone needs some tips? Let me know.
I do, but sometimes it's fun to go down the trending topic wormhole. It's not a bad thing.
Well, I can still access it. I just don't see it when you
jump right.
Anyway,
so getting back to. Jets free agency, we summed up yesterday with DJ Reed and Jordan Whitehead. DJ Reed, a fantastic cornerback from Seattle last year, had great numbers. He's a little undersized and has some injury history, but he plays in the same scheme. So I'm excited for that because we had crap at cornerback last year. So
yeah, like that was the one. That was the first thing I could think of that you guys needed. So
yeah, Bryce Hall. They like Bryce Hall. They like Brandon Eccles. Eccles was a 6th round pick. Hall was a 5th round pick, and then we got this undrafted guy, Isaiah Dunn, that everyone keeps lauding, but I've never seen him do anything except for get torched. So, but they're all 2 or under in terms of years in the system, years playing. So, they got some upside potential. But DJ Reed just solidifies that CB1 until we get to the draft, and we'll see how that goes. And
where are you at right now at number 4? Do you Any way you stretch to get like a Wilson?
No.
Wide receiver.
I think, and so we signed Jordan Whitehead at strong safety out of Tampa Bay, and he's another guy. He's kind of like a downhill in the box safety kind of player, but he can play in this little bit in the scheme. He's got really good zone coverage numbers. But I think with all the moves that we've made, and we've just re-signed a bunch of our own guys that were, Flacco re-signed and a couple other depth pieces, but no starters. So we got 4 starters out of that.
Elite.
Yeah. So I don't think any of the guys we signed are even elite, but they're above average to start.
Joe Flacco is those.
Oh, Joe Flacco.
That was the joke.
As a backup quarterback is fine. He could be the guy telling Zach Wilson, "Look at this defense, and here's how you read this, and here's how you do that." He's got a Super Bowl ring. I don't care. At $3.5 million for my backup quarterback for 1 year, I'm fine with it.
He is halfway to the Hall of Fame by your standards.
Halfway to the Hall. He just needs one more Super Bowl ring. Yeah. So How about that, Doug? If he gets a Super Bowl ring with the Jets as a backup, do we still put him into the Hall of Fame?
I don't think we do, right? Because Phil Simms doesn't qualify, apparently.
I said two.
It's the Phil's. Phil has 2 rings.
But one, did he play in both? Was he the starter for both?
Actually, fucking Hostetler has 2 rings too.
Yes, but
no. Phil got hurt like week 13, 14 in 1990, and Haas took over.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be the starting quarterback. The starting quarterback for 2.
Gotcha.
Is that better?
Right.
I can't believe
we got to amend it.
Such an Eli hater. His own.
Not an Eli hater. I'm an Eli realist.
Yes, he should still be Eli.
It's crazy though, right? Like stepping back, because come on, I love Eli, but stepping back, like people are like, oh, he's top 10 in yards all time, and he is. But you know what? He's 3rd for his draft class in that stat as well. That's just how much passing is blown up in this era. It's ridiculous. I think like Marino might be the only guy not drafted in the 2000s who's still in the top 10.
That guy.
So it's wild.
That guy.
Anyway,
more upsettedness.
You want to do some more Dan Marino memories now?
The fake spike still haunts me to this day.
Never forget.
Yeah, I was watching it. I used to watch in my grandfather's room, just like sitting on his bed. He had this little, 13-inch TV, like we talked about last week, and I'm watching it in his room, and I'm just like, oh my god, how
R.I.P. another remote.
No, I was too young, but that was definitely like, I think that was the first time I ever like really felt shameful as a Jet fan. I was like, oh man, like we are a laughing stock. Yeah.
That was the year that like Boomer had the team doing pretty well, right? Like, so that was like a backbreaker. It wasn't just like a random.
Yes. I think that was the year that we went to Houston and we had to win to get into the playoffs. Boomer had the team moving, and we came out. I believe we got shut out in Houston and lost and did not make it to the playoffs. So that was yet another feather in the cap of feeling like this is not our year. But
this is what we do, Mike. We share in the pain.
Commiserate, exactly. Yeah, those are all both awful. And I think the most exciting part about that year was that I was in Canada when that happened, and I didn't get any Jets games. I only got Bills games, but I got ESPN was putting on some of the playoff games at that time, and that game was on. It was Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday Night Football, last game of the season, and that was what happened. So
that must have been like '94. It was. I guess that was a Buddy Ryan, Houston Oilers team there.
Probably. I've blocked a lot of it out. But to get back to the draft, at 4, I think what we saw after the combine is that this draft is rich with top end O-line and D-line talent, and I think by signing Tomlinson, we've pretty much, and we've signed all of our depth pieces for the line. So we're going to roll the dice and assume that Becton's going to be healthy this year is my guess, and I think we go edge at 4 because the value is there between, everyone thinks Jacksonville's going to go tackle at 1, right? That's my guess, and then Detroit's probably going to go Hutchinson at 2 because he's a Detroit guy.
That or they'll flip.
Yeah, or they're gonna,
right? But make the same picks.
Yeah,
I think you're absolutely
exactly.
right. That Hutch is going to Detroit.
I don't think after Jacksonville's first 48 hours of free agency, I don't think they're smart enough to leverage Hutchinson against Detroit and get an extra 3rd-round pick out of it. So,
by the way, $9 million for Evan Ingram. Enjoy,
dude. I think that's what we can talk about some of the most ridiculous contracts after. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
not
anyway. Yeah, sorry.
All good.
So okay, so let's say you got like Thibodeau and like Neal still on the board at 4. Are you going with one of those guys? You worried about any of those? Are you worried about Thibodeau?
I mean, I think it's like that over. It's kind of like the same shit that happened to Rocker from the Mets.
Right.
And how he dropped. He was like, for 3 years,
We've been talking about these guys forever.
Yeah, he was 3 years. He was the number 1 pick coming out when he was eligible to come out. And he finally comes out. And then there's all these things that make him drop. And then there obviously, the Mets didn't disparage him, but there had to be an injury for them not to sign him, right? That's my guess, right? If they didn't sign him, I can't imagine Steve Cohen, the fucking richest owner in baseball, didn't sign a guy who's the number 1 pick just over dollars and cents, right?
And Steve Cohen, who definitely pays attention to social media and the media in general, and everybody was celebrating that pick, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, there was something wrong with him. Whether or not it was a good move,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see where he gets drafted this year. But so I use that as an example with Thibodeau because that's where he's been talked about to be the number 1 pick in this draft for 3 years, and then everyone wants to shit on this draft and say these guys wouldn't even go in the top 15 in last year's draft. So I think it's a little bit of oversaturation for Thibodeau. I think they've had so much time to dissect this guy because he's been on the radar for so long. If he's there at 4, I think you make the pick. You take Thibodeau.
Well, okay, Thibodeau or Taylor. Sorry, Taylor.
Well, are you talking?
Because that's the guy who's rising, right?
Yeah, you're talking about Walker from Georgia.
Oh, sorry, Walker.
Yeah.
God, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I think
I got Guinness number 2.
Yes, no problem. Yeah. So the kid from Georgia. I don't know. That's the question I'm having in my mind. But I think the good news is we'll have at least one of them on the board at the very least. So between I guess if the Texans and the Jags all went and they took Walker and they took Thibodeau and they took Hutchinson in the top 3, then I don't know what the fuck you do. Maybe you take James Johnson, or maybe you take Iquanu, the tackle from NC State, who they regard as the top player in the draft overall. So I think one of those 4 guys is going to be there, and I think you take whichever one's there, right? So and then at 10, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to say, as a Giants fan, like any of these guys dropping is great because we need help on both sides of the line.
I think what's going to happen for you guys at 5 is you're going to have Evan Neal fall right into your laps at 5, and you're going to run up and take that guy. And you're going to have bookend tackles and Neal and Thomas.
Well, it's not Gettleman, so we might actually do it.
Oh, yeah. Your new GM is not – I mean, he's learned from a good spot. And I think this draft is so talent-laden in the trenches. I mean, he could go Sauce Gardner at 5, your guy, but I think that's really early for a cornerback. Although his measurables
I don't know.
are crazy.
No. I wouldn't do him. Maybe it's 7. And honestly, like I'm kind of coming around to the idea of Hamilton.
I mean,
even though we have McKinney and Ryan, I mean, dude can play, right?
You can talk yourself into him.
But again, at 7, I think a GM's first pick, if you're not getting a franchise quarterback, the second best thing to do is just get that lineman.
Yep, absolutely.
So you're absolutely right.
I think if you sign up for Evan Neal at 5. You're going to be so happy. The guy is a freak. Mm-hmm. We talked about seeing him topless last week, so hopefully
we did.
Hopefully you guys will also get to see him topless.
And hopefully, like we weren't canceled for that. I'm sorry if that was offensive.
I don't think that's offensive. We've said some offensive things on here. Yeah. We're fine.
I got to check.
Yeah, it's all the PR police is not going to. It's the least of their worries from our show thus far today. So,
all right, fair enough.
And then, but yeah, at 7 for you guys, I don't know who's going to be there, but you could probably pick from someone like James Johnson or Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, who looks like a twitchy edge that can get around the corner. There's a couple of the other kids from Wyatt and Davis from Georgia that are 2 interior defensive linemen that are
Yeah.
Beasts.
I honestly, Davis, I would not be unhappy with. I mean, again, we need help everywhere, and having that guy just like clog up the middle, sign me up.
And he ran a 4.740 at 340 pounds. Like, yeah,
you gotta love that program, man. Like before I was even looking at the draft, I overheard someone say, just watch Georgia in the title game, and their defense especially. Just watch them, and I did, and I was like, oh my god, like.
They're gonna have four.
Sign me up for.
They're gonna have 4 first-round draft picks just off that defense in this year's draft.
Maybe 5.
Who's the 5th one?
I remember hearing maybe 5. Don't put me on the spot. I swear there's a 5th.
The safety. Okay, yes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he'll be the 5th, but he's trending upwards as well. He had a crazy combine, but I think.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of Georgia, the guy who I couldn't think of last week, Ojari had a really good rookie year. So shout out to UGA.
Oh, okay.
And Tate Crowder at linebackers. So yeah, we're building a little bulldog thing over here.
Yeah, they're a great program. They finally got over the hump this year. I don't particularly care for college football, but anyone that beats Alabama is okay in my book, and I'll root for whoever's playing.
Hell yeah.
I'll root for whoever's playing Alabama. So,
I haven't done it either, but by all accounts, we both should hit an SEC game at some point in our lives. That's when you realize what college football is about.
Yes,
but like the whole tailgate experience and all that.
So what I've heard is
we're northeast douchebags, so we don't get it. But
what I've heard is
they do it right.
Florida, Georgia is called the I want to say it's called the cocktail party, and it's because the tailgate is just insane. So Dougie, maybe we'll do a live podcast from Florida, Georgia.
We got to. Yeah. We have some family friends who have a bus at LSU tailgates every year, so we'll bring it down there.
Okay, I'm in. I need more sports experiences after 2 years of absolute no sports in person.
Seriously. By the way, my shame, I still haven't been to UBS.
Fail.
Maybe this weekend.
Failure.
Yeah.
And
I'll report back.
Yeah, I can imagine why you haven't gone, but I also can't imagine why you haven't gone.
Yeah, it's been a shit show, and I know we had tickets for that Montreal game, but I was just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Well,
whenever that was.
Yeah, that was on a Monday during COVID, and it obviously didn't work out. I couldn't even make the flight cross country to be there. So we will wait for next year when this is our year for the Islanders.
This is our year.
Yeah, this is our year.
This is our year.
Yeah. So. What else we got here, Dougie? What else? We want to keep talking a little free agency quarterback quandaries?
Do you? I mean, what's your opinion on trades? You got 2 first-round picks. Would you like to see them trade one of them, maybe for some futures? Or
yeah, man, I would love
just to move back.
I'd love to see that 10th overall pick get dealt back to a team
like that. That's prime Willis area,
it is,
right?
It
like
is
someone who's going to jump up,
unless Seattle takes him right at 9.
Right.
But it is prime Willis area. You got Washington at 11, and then all these other teams in and around. And I think if you move back from 10 and you can pick up a first this year and a first next year and maybe a third, you make that move all day. Because I think this is a depth draft. I don't think there's a lot of high quality skill position players. There's a lot of receivers, but I don't think they expect them to be great like last year's class. Last year's class might be one of the all-time greatest when it's all said and done. I think we're going to have a lot of good depth, good linemen out this year, and I think Joe would like to just put some more picks in the pocket. So, yeah. I'm with you. I don't know how Giants feel about this, but I wonder if a team will get a little drunk on draft night and want to move up to 7 for a quarterback. I don't see why not. I mean, you guys did this last year, and I don't see why you wouldn't do it again this year. It's a smart play. It's that mid-round area. You're still in the top end, but we're right at the end of the top end into the mid-round, and you're close to that, where it's not quite as expensive to jump up if a quarterback falls or if you fall in love with a quarterback and you want to make that move, like you said, from Malik Willis out of Liberty University, which was in the same town as Lynchburg College. It was always fun. They never had a great school, but we can talk about Liberty all day.
Speaking of getting canceled, I'm going to try to ask this very delicately. Were the Liberty college girls, did they go out and party? And is it that old, like Catholic?
No,
never mind. But
we're not going to get canceled. But
at.
I'll answer that for you.
Okay.
So Lynchburg College is this small town in the foothills of Virginia, the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it's kind of in between Charlottesville, where UVA is, and Blacksburg. Kind of, it's like kind of more of like a triangle where.
You know what? I'm sorry, I forgot. I thought they were in the same town for some reason.
But Liberty, so Liberty University is in Lynchburg. And that's where...
No, it is.
So,
okay.
So I went to Lynchburg, which was the liberal arts school, and Liberty University is where Jerry Falwell, the famous televangelist, had his church. And so...
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. And I worked for the Lynchburg Hillcats, were owned by his brother, Calvin Falwell. So the Falwells owned the entire city of Lynchburg in the late 90s, early 2000s when I went to college there. And... This is a long-winded answer, Doug, but it's definitely great stories.
Oh no, I'm asking because I know they have specific rules about student conduct.
Yes, so they're
very specific rules.
So there was Lynchburg College, there was Randolph-Macon Women's College, and there was Liberty University, all in Lynchburg. And the Falwells owned the whole town, and they had edicts in the town where you could not zone your establishment as only a bar. So every bar in Lynchburg had to also serve food. So it had to be a bar restaurant. You couldn't just have, there was nowhere. So that, your normal college, you go to, what's your favorite bar in Syracuse? I'm sure you know off the top of your head. Name it. What was your go-to?
Oh, man. Wait. When I was there, it was 44.
Yeah.
I think it's been renamed.
Yeah, you went to 44.
Let's say Varsity.
Right.
That's the classic.
And maybe they serve burgers and fries.
Although that's more of a restaurant.
Yeah, but I mean, there was... you had a specific place where you go watch the game that only served...
Fagans. Oh, my God. Anyway, but yeah. So it's kind of like the Cuomo rules we saw with the pandemic, right? So, like you have to buy a bag of chips.
Yeah, so Lynchburg, exactly. Lynchburg, you had... If you went out to drink at an establishment... It also had to serve food. They didn't make. I think you had to have food on your ticket, but there was no like amount of food. That's getting into Salt Lake City type stuff. But But I will say, so the Randolph-Macon girls and the Lynchburg guys, we fraternized together because you could. The only thing about
wait, hold on. Did Liberty not have not take women attendees?
So Liberty was on the complete opposite side of town. He built out this whole little area that there was it was like very secluded, as secluded as you can get in Lynchburg, which isn't much, but it's a town of probably 200,000 and without college kids. And so Lynchburg was in like one of the older parts of town. Randolph-Macon was downtown ish, and then Liberty was out in the new part of town. And so Liberty was, you couldn't, there was female and male dorms like separate. Like Lynchburg, we had floors, but males and females in the same dorm. And there was not a lot of rules, but Liberty was female and male dorms separate. If you got caught after 10 p.m. in the female dorm or the male dorm, I believe you were expelled from school. I don't think that. I don't think you. And if you got caught inebriated,
no double secret probation. Just
dude. And if you got caught drinking, out. Drugs, out. I mean, and I believe they had a dress code too. I don't think that they. I think they had to have skirts below their knees if they were women, and everything had to be covered up to the neckline. Like it was pretty ridiculous. And there'd be a few, right? Because there'd be some off-campus Liberty people that didn't live on campus, and it was a good school. And you'd meet them out and about every once in a while. Like it was always the question when you sat down at a bar and you didn't know, hey, what you go to school? Where you go? Liberty? Oh, okay. Oh, what are you doing here? Like this is awkward to see you at this bar establishment. And yeah, so you'd get the dirty details of Liberty and everything that they did. And I guess, some people that's what they want, but I don't think it was freedom. I don't think it was freedom, and there was definitely a lot of rules. Yeah,
it's an interesting approach to higher ed, right?
Yes.
I'll leave it at that. But yeah, like everyone, to bring it back, everyone loves Willis's arm. They love his character.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds like a red flag, though.
Right.
It's like,
yeah. I mean, I could see a world where all of these quarterbacks fall out of the top first round.
Yeah.
I don't think Ritter, Pickett, Howell, even Willis. But who knows? We'll see.
I'll put it this way: I'd be very, very confused if the Giants took a quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, I think
very.
I think the Steelers are ripe for a quarterback. I think you take someone like Pickett mid first round, or you trade back. Yeah. I think a
good call on the Seahawks.
I think the Seahawks could be the guy that take Willis right there at 9 and see what they can make out of him and let Locke be their like bridge quarterback. But anyway, Doug, we've covered a lot of fun a lot of fun things on this episode.
We have it. And real quick before you put this one to bed, we forgot to do this in the beginning, and it's a little sad, but we do have to give a shout out to Razor Ramon. We got to pour a little out.
Jed,
for an absolute legend.
Jed Wisniewski,
our friend Jed's nemesis. Anyone who frequented the Coliseum over the years, maybe it wasn't actually him, but God, it looked just like him, and he was an usher or a bouncer there forever. So anyway, when the news dropped, I was just thinking about that because I think we just mentioned him on a couple episodes ago when we were talking about Islanders memories. So yeah, R.I.P. Razor Ramon and Jean Potvin as well, Dennis's brother, before our time, yours and I's. But anyone who's a little older probably remembers him on some of the original Islander teams. So
yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, gentlemen.
All right, guys. Doug, it's been a pleasure. Audience,
yeah, man, always.
See you next time.
This podcast was produced by Heartcast Media.